Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. If something has resulted in our life as a result of practice, it can be undone by contrary practice. For example, when we smoke, our first cigarette smoking has zero experience. Our second cigarette smoking has 2 minus 1 experience. Our third cigarette smoking has 3 minus 1 experience. And our nth cigarette smoking has an experience of n minus 1. And when n approaches infinity, n is equal to n minus 1. And thus, slowly by practice, we acquire habits in life. Now, these habits can be removed from our life only by the opposite practice. So how do we start? If we cannot give up everything in one go, then we start slowly. Then okay, now I will smoke only after lunch and dinner, not 70 cigarettes a day. And slowly we can get rid of. If this example is clear, in the same manner, it is by sheer practice that we have taken ourselves to be body. There is no logic, there is no reason. Why should we consider ourselves to be body? It is just by practice. And this practice can be nullified by counter practice, and that is called as the practice of yoga. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. So when this body identification is by practice, second step, when the mind is identified with the body, it will think only in terms of that body, and therefore the original sin is body identification. Valmiki Ramayana defines sin in a very scientific manner. What is the sin? Anyatha santamatmanam anyatha pratipadyate kim tena na krutam papam chorena atma apahana. We are essentially divine, but we consider ourselves to be sinful. This is the sin. We are not. Then why this has happened? Only by practice. There was one girl, she was told by her mother every now and then that she makes mistakes. She will never appreciate one good thing of the daughter, continuously finding out her faults. One day, when I went to their house, that mother was cooking. So she told me, Swamiji, please be seated. I'll just finish thing and come in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, she told her daughter, hey, kindly give a glass of water to Swamiji. Now this was enough. She was about 22 years girl. This was enough. But as a habit to the mother, don't break the glass. There is no need to say this. And as a result, as if When she was giving me the glass of water, she dashed somewhere and it broke. See, I told you. So by constant nagging, even if we don't have those things, they start appearing in us. In the same manner, by constant practice, we have come to believe and live as body. So we have to know now do the contrary practice. And what is the contrary practice is? This is what we call as pranayam. In this pranayam, what happens, as I mentioned yesterday, first is the inner purification, second is loosening of the grip of the mind on the body. And when we have to do this pranayam, it has to be done regularly, at least twice a day, morning, evening, empty stomach, and also before meditation. And as our pranayam will continue for more and more number of time, we will be able to distinctly experience ourselves to be different from the body, the prana, and the mind or the thoughts. One can very clearly experience. Like at this moment, we very clearly experience that we are other than the furniture around us. We have no doubt about it. To that extent, the clear experience comes. And therefore, let us today learn the technique of pranayam. There are hundreds and different techniques of pranayam. I am not going to go into that. I'll tell you that which has helped me directly after going to many Mahatmas and struggling in many ways. As I told you, the basic principle that we follow in our life is we have to get freedom from body identification, one. Second, we have to get freedom from the soul identification, that I am an individual, I am an ego, I am a soul who is living in this body, who has come in this body, who will leave this body and go into another body. That story has to be destroyed. So these are the two stages through which we have to go. So the first stage is the body disidentification, and the second stage of destroying the soul concept that we will take in our subsequent classes. Now today let us try to disidentify from the body with the help of pranayam. As we all know that the mind and the body are together held by the glue of prana or the breathing. If the breathing is very fast, our identification with the gross body is very strong. If the breathing is extremely slow, our identification with the gross body is minimum. And if we can stop breathing, then our identification with the gross body is zero. Therefore, in death, there is no breathing. And because there is no breathing, there is no identification with the gross body. In deep sleep, there is deep breathing, but not fast breathing. And therefore, there is no identification with the body, but there is no recognition of the truth also. We end up in matter. We end up in ignorance. So the third option is that we neither die nor sleep and come to recognize our identity as other than the body. This is what meditation is. Now the second point. We have to understand what is the meaning of disidentification from the body. Mind expresses in a living body in two ways. First, as the inner controller, when we are sleeping, that time also our hair grow, our nails grow, the blood circulation continues, the metabolism is not suspended, the digestion is continued. Who is doing that job? That job is done by the mind, which is the inner controller. The second aspect of the mind is the mind takes the shape of the body. The first aspect, inner controller, is not creating the sense of I, the ego. But the second aspect, where our mind has taken the shape of the body, creates an illusion that I is separate from you. And in this manner, this sense of separateness is the problem in our life. Therefore, disidentification of the mind means giving up the shape of the body by the mind. Mind comes back to its original formless, shapeless existence. Formless, shapeless mind is consciousness. In that consciousness, there are no problems. So all the sadhana that we have to do now is that we have to disidentify, means give up the shape of the body. Now see what happens. In case of death, both the aspects of the mind are deleted. There is neither inner controller of the life, nor there is a shape of the body. In case of the deep sleep, the mind continues to be as the inner controller, but there is no shape of the body, and therefore there is no I. Now in both these extremes, either in death or in deep sleep, we cannot live our life. So the third option left is neither we die nor we sleep, but we do not come under the influence of the shape of the body and therefore a sense of separateness. This is what we have to achieve. And for that purpose we do this pranayam. Now when we are doing pranayam, we all know that we breathe 15 times per minute. So it comes to, by calculation, in 24 hours, 216 times per 24 hours. Out of this 216 times, half day, half night. So the daytime we are available for spiritual practice. So it becomes half, 108. And that is why when we have the rosary or the mala, it has 108 beads. So those 108 beads tell us that we have to remember the Lord with every breathing. We have to live in that degree of awareness. Normally, we are not even aware that we are breathing. And when we become extremely aware, then we start living as awareness and no more as the body. Like when I am in front of my daughter, I start living as a mother or the father. When I am in front of my wife, I start living as a husband. When I am in front of my husband, I start living as a wife. In the same manner, when we start living as awareness, our relationship with the world changes. And this change in the relationship with the world changes the quality of our life. See? And this can happen by this technique of pranayam, when the mind drops the shape of the body and merges in the consciousness or the absolute reality. So how do we do this? Our idea is that the mind should give up the shape of the body and thereby stop thinking. Every thought is a vehicle on which we ride and go away from ourselves. When we sit in the car, we don't sit in the car to come inside the kitchen. We sit in the car to go away from the home. In the same manner, we take the help of a thought to go away from the self. And that is why Patanjali Maharshi says, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is suspension of a thought process. When there are minimum number of thoughts, we are not far away from the self. When there are more number of thoughts, we are going away from the self. And when there is a volcano of thought eruptions non-stop, we are far away from ourselves. When we are nearer to ourselves, we are blissful. When we are little away from ourselves, we get little disturbed now and then. And when we are far away from ourselves, we are most miserable, because our essential nature is bliss, and going away from the bliss is being miserable. And that is why this thought process should not be encouraged. Now, why I gave you this introduction about the thoughts is, whenever pranayam is spoken of by Mahatmas, they talk in terms of a ratio. Ratio is what? You take the breathing in and say count 4. So you are breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Then hold the breathing inside 2 times. So count up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then breathe out, again double. So it should be 16 count. Then you start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And in this manner, we create mind. This is one of the biggest obstacles which many people don't recognize, because their foundation is different. According to yoga, jiva, the soul is real. And there are many souls, as many bodies, so many souls. We don't accept that principle. And that is why they are very much happy with counting or chanting the Lord's name. We should not get into that. And when initial stages I went to some Mahatmas to learn yoga and all that, they told various techniques of counting. And when I started doing that, I was getting so disgusted, I dropped that. What was the disgust? Disgust was this. So I'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4, no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Little problem. And then while breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, little problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. I said, what I am doing? Because the mind is struggling and we want to get rid of the mind. Another Mahatmaji told me this technique. He said, you should count both ways equal count. So suppose you are breathing in and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Suppose you have breathed in counting 20. Then count down while breathing out. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So you become so tense, I should not mistake, because going up is easy. And unnecessarily tension created. So when I did with that for a few months, I said, no, this is not the way. And then another things they tell in pranayama, that is called as Anulom Vilom pranayama. So close your right nostril, then take the air with the left one, and after that close the left nostril, leave the air with the right one, then again breathe in from the right one, close the right nostril, and then breathe out with the left one. And in that you get confused whether I had taken from here or taken from here. Ram Ram. I said, I am playing with my mind. That mind has to be removed, discarded. And then I came to this conclusion, which I am going to tell you. Principle is, when we concentrate, we go away from ourselves. When we are aware, we are nearest to ourselves. I'll give two examples. In Yoga Shastra, Hatha Yoga, there is a technique called as the Trataka. Like they will be keeping the candle in front and they'll keep on looking at it. Or they will look at the sun. By this what happens? They develop a tremendous power of concentration. But this concentration is taking you away from yourself. That they don't understand. Take the two eyes, if you have seen the pictures. Eyes of Osho, Rajneesh. And second, eyes of Bhagwan Raman Maharshi. See the difference in their eyes. Osho's eyes are so powerful. You can't look at it for a long time. And Bhagwan Raman Maharshi's eyes are like the deep sea of Norway. Absolutely undisturbed, peaceful. You feel frightened in the presence of Osho's eyes. You feel assured in the presence of Bhagwan Raman Maharshi. Because Osho worked on matter. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi remained in consciousness. See? Recognize this basic difference. Therefore, don't struggle to concentrate on anything in life. See, just look at the picture behind me, that Om. When you concentrate on that, or concentrate on my face, when you concentrate on my face, you are going away from yourself. Now, you become aware of your own breathing. See, you are nearest to your own being. Therefore, when we are going to learn pranayam, we will keep all these points in our mind and then do the pranayama. Now, like yesterday I mentioned, in short, pranayama is done for two purposes. One is the inner purification. It is like going to a toilet or to a bathroom. It is only cleansing process. That has to be done twice a day, 15 minutes are enough. And after that is done, you feel cleaned inside, and then the uncontrolled, unwanted thought eruptions after some time will die away. We complain that there are many dirty thoughts, but we don't understand that when you take a dirty cloth to wash on the river side, you make it wet in the river, apply soap, and then start washing. Now from that dirty cloth, don't expect milk to come out. Only dirt will come out. And if the dirt is coming out, it is very good. There is nothing wrong in that. In the same manner, meditation is a washing place. We are cleaning our mind. So initially, if it is happening, congratulate yourself that your mind is getting cleaned. There is nothing to worry or feel bad about it. Now, second thing, there are many meaningless thoughts. They are neither good nor bad, but all kinds of funny thoughts. No reason for those thoughts. Now, why those uncontrolled thoughts come is because of the toxins in our system. So, when by pranayam we remove those toxins, the stimuli for the mind from inside is stopped. And when there is no stimuli from inside, the mind remains quieter effortlessly. This is the purpose of pranayam, one aspect, when our mind is learned to make quiet. Now, to give an example for this process is like, washing the clothes in the washing machine and then putting them on the lines, drying lines, and waiting till it becomes dry. And after that, you don't put on directly. Then you take an iron box, and that hot iron box moves on the clothes. It was already cleaned. What are you doing again? See, we are removing the wrinkles. Wrinkles on the cloth don't look good. Now, wrinkles on the cloth, is it like this machine on the table? No. Wrinkles on the cloth are nothing but cloth. But they look ugly. In the same manner, consciousness with the wrinkles of thoughts is called as mind. And this wrinkle straightening, moving the iron box on that cloth is called as the process of meditation. When we move the iron box on the cloth, where do the wrinkles go? They don't go anywhere. Why? Because they are not. They only appear in the same manner. Thought is not an entity. It is not something solid. So mind plus a sense of objectivity is called as a thought. And in pure awareness, there is no objectivity. And that is why we are insisting that do not get lost in counting 1, 2, 3, 4, or don't go on counting up and down, or don't go on chanting Lord's name, Ram, 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. You will get lost. At this time, everything has to be quietened because we want to transcend the mind. Therefore, let us not create mind. If this is clear, now we go into the pranayam proper. Now in pranayam, what we will do, we will breathe out first and then breathe in slowly, fill in the stomach and then the chest. And when we fill in the stomach, our stomach will bulge and then our chest will expand. Then we have breathe in fully. Now don't hold the air inside even for a second. After you have filled in completely, then breathe out. First from the chest by collapsing the chest, and then breathe out from the stomach by squeezing the stomach inside upward. This will make one pranayam. Now our speed is normally 15 times per minute. Our aim is to reduce this frequency. From 15, it should come to, let us say, 10 or 6 or 5 or 4, etc. Second thing, we are having deep breathing and breathing out fully, and therefore our stomach should be empty when we are practicing this pranayam. This girl, you please do not do pranayam. You simply sit down, you only listen, okay? Don't do. So when this is done, then slowly our rhythm will be set. And when the rhythm is set, as the purification goes on happening, you will see a very clear-cut peeling off of the mind from the body. Meaning, you get a clear picture. Body, breathing and mind. And yourself to be independent of the three. This is what happens when we practice this pranayam, and it ultimately culminates into Kevala Kumbhak. Kevala Kumbhak means suspension of breathing. That is the ultimate. So how do we do that? I'll first demonstrate, you see, and then we will do it. I will be showing with my hand to let you understand how the stomach goes in and it comes out, etc. But we don't have to do it. It is just for your demonstration. I am doing it with my hand. It is not required. Then the second important thing is we have to have patience. Things will not happen just overnight. Slowly, we will be able to do that. Don't give up. So, I'll do it now. You just watch. I'll give the sequence. To begin with, I squeeze out and throw the air. Then slowly I will breathe in. Stomach is filled. Then chest filled. Then I breathe out. The chest collapses and the stomach is squeezed inside upward. This is the sequence. The depth of breathing and the speed of breathing has to be deep and very slow respectively. So I'll start now. This was one pranayam. With this speed, if you do, you will do 2 times breathing per minute. So we do normally 15 times. To what extent it is brought down? It will not happen initially. Initially, we will not be able to do so deep and so methodically. But we can do it in due practice. That's what I told. Practice is essential. So now all of you sit properly except that girl. You relax better. Don't do anything. So sit properly. Back, neck, head in a straight line. Your fingers are interlocked. Index fingers together, thumbs together in your lap. You are cheerful and happy. Nobody has compelled you to do meditation. You are Mr. Nobody. You have no planning what you are going to do after meditation. Now in the present moment, we are going to get involved with all sincerity. So first, breathe out by squeezing the stomach and continue. Now you can begin. some observations and some instructions. Please continue your pranayam, don't stop. First observations. We are not able to establish a perfect sequence. Many times when we breathe in, the stomach doesn't bulge but goes inside. Many times when we breathe out, the stomach bulges. This happens wrong way initially, but when you remain aware, slowly this can be corrected. 2. We will not be able to have extremely slow breathing initially. Let us not imagine that we can do as slow as 1 or 2 breathings per minute. It will be not possible right in the beginning. 3rd, we lose patience. That should not happen. Have patience, we can achieve anything. As we are continuing pranayam, our base of the asana is becoming firm. It is getting well settled, like the foundation of a building. Vertically, our body is becoming or has become steady. With little more pranayam, you will experience that your body's weight has increased on the pin bones. Now one instruction. Try to remain aware about only one thing, and that is the time taken for breathing in and out should be equal. Don't struggle. Just slowly you will be able to become aware about it. Continue. At this stage, our body is sufficiently relaxed. There is no movement at all, as if it has become a wooden log. This is the beginning of mind separating from the body shape. Now every day you can try this for half an hour, 45 minutes. Slowly, you will get the knack of it. Now for our this session, you may now breathe normally. Now your breathing is extremely slow and shallow. Now the breathing is extremely slow and shallow. Be aware of this breathing. The shape and the form of the body has started disappearing from the knowledge. with breathing becoming more shallow and slow, the shape of the body disappearing from the mind, there are hardly any thought disturbances. Without thoughts, there cannot be a sense of otherness. This thought free experience of being be aware that the quality of breathing does not change. old habits of thoughts will come up, but don't fight or cooperate. We have nothing to do with the world, the body, breathing, thoughts. This not getting bothered by this is like ocean is not bothered by the presence or absence of waves. The fire is not bothered by heat or cold. When we remain aware, very few thoughts come and go. When we remain aware, we are able to catch ourselves that we are getting involved in the thinking process. Withdraw. In this meditation, importance is to consciousness and not to the matter. Matter is controlled and transcended. The consciousness is recognized. Take a deep breathing once or twice. Move your fingers and toes and see again how the body is included in the mind. A sense of separateness begins. The relative world is created. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ